once again with a brand new Drake project. They come thick and fast these days. He can't seem to go like a whole year without dropping at least something. Last year we got Care Package. This year we're getting another Lucy's type project with a bunch of demo type tracks on this new mixtape here. You often get the occasional opinion that his Lucy's, his mixtapes are his best projects in general, and I'm kind of the opinion that I struggle to understand why people say that, to be honest, because so far I just have in general struggled with Drake's output since the beginning of his career. Not to say that he doesn't at least have great songs in his catalogue, because he definitely does. There's loads of tracks that I would gladly go back to at any point. I still think some tracks from Nothing Was the Same are very good. I still think Nice for What is one of his best songs. I still like Hotline Bling. There's a lot of tracks I'd go back to. I really do think he has a lot of good songs. And I think by the time we hit a point where we're looking back at Drake's career, I think we'll think of him as a singles artist. And even though, you know, some of his projects like Take Care, If You're Reading This It's Too Late, seem to get the most acclaim, the most love, I don't really get it. I think they're ridiculously long. They don't need to be well over an hour like they are. Like, I just struggle to sit through that much Drake. I really do. And If You're Reading This, not that good. Not that good. What are you guys hearing with that? I don't get it. And at this point, I'm kind of getting sick of going into a Drake album, Drake mixtape, knowing exactly what I'm gonna get. There are only a few tracks here that surprised me, but everything else is such common, generic Drake stuff that it's just tiring. It's tiring to listen to Drake ramble on over really bland beats. Why? The really frustrating thing for me is that Drake clearly has it in him. Like, a lot of naysayers of Drake don't seem to realize that he can every now and then get it completely right with great songs. Even on here, there are some great songs on here, but like, why does that just get thrown out the window and we get his usual like Chicago freestyle type tracks where he's just saying nothing for like God knows how long, and it seems to be going on forever, and the beat is just so empty. The subject matter he chooses for his songs are like painfully banal, I have no interest in hearing moan about women or just anything else that he wants to throw in there off the cuff. Like, he seems to not really sit down and think about his next rhymes or the next things he's gonna say. I just can't think of anything more boring than some of the things he talks about in his songs. Like, it's ridiculous. And again, with the beats that he picks, Not To You, just wow, this is like a lullaby. Honestly, it really has little to nothing to it. It's not even like atmospheric. It's not even like, ooh, chilling. It's not even like he has an amazing vocal performance like any other R&B singer would have to carry the song the whole way through. He has a Chris Brown feature. Now, to be fair, Chris Brown isn't even that bad of a singer. I really don't think he's that bad of a singer at all, regardless of him as a person, which is up for, you know, a different conversation. But he generally has a decent voice. But even on this track, like, he just is barely present. He adds nothing to the song. It's just nothingness. Like, why? Listening to tracks like this really confused me as to why people would even consider Drake as like an R&B legend. Yeah, the stats, the numbers, he even has Grammys under his belt. He has a massive audience. He has a massive mainstream pull, but it doesn't mean to say that he is a top-notch performer, top-notch singer, a top-notch lyricist. Like, he's really far from any of those things compared to some of the R&B greats. Like, I just couldn't imagine even thinking about him being up there with some of the best of all time. He does that really frustrating flow where he kind of goes like, he can't like string more than one line together. He always has to pause and then leave like an empty 2 seconds and then come back in. I really can't stand the way he does that. I feel like even without telling you which song I'm talking about, you can sort of hazard a guess to what I mean when I say that, because he's just done this for so long on so many of his big hits, and even not even like on his biggest hits, just on albums like Scorpion and Views. And then the weird thing is that when he diversifies it up and he gives us a track like D4L, you're just like, yeah, this is what he could be doing for an entire album, but he doesn't. The night and day difference when you get to this track is unbelievable. It almost feels like it shouldn't be on the album because it just doesn't fit. But it's great. Like, Future and Thugger come in, providing some pretty hype for performances. It's honestly such a great track. Southside on production, who's worked with Future for years on Dirty Sprite 2 and so many other projects, and some Thugger projects too. Most notably though, he's on Flockavelli and Flockavelli 1.5, which are really good projects from Waka Flocka Flame. Like, just having his presence here is like a massive change. I think Demons is also another highlight. Like, this really amplified production coming from Drake is kind of rare, to be honest. Like, he doesn't usually pick these kind of beats, but I think if the reception to these tracks is strong enough, he could probably carry on going on in this direction. Because you know what Drake's like, the minute something becomes trendy, he just jumps on it. Just like with the Playboi Carti feature, of course, Playboi Carti is massively trendy at the moment. That style is getting copied, you know, constantly. And of course, Drake decides to jump on it and just give us exactly what people are wanting to hear. And that's not a problem. It's actually kind of clever that he does that and knows when to do something to appeal to a certain audience. It's actually pretty clever. It doesn't necessarily make for great tracks, like, you know, when he did it with One Dance, with the dancehall type stuff that he was throwing out there. I didn't particularly like that song, but he knew that in that moment, that was the time to drop a song like that. It's pretty clever marketing, honestly. Even though it shows a little bit of versatility in what Drake can be doing, the results aren't necessarily that strong, even here with the Playboi Carti track. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think Carti's feature's good. Like, I've grown to really like Playboi Carti recently, but I'm not just gonna say just because he's on a song it makes it good. Like, he sounds really bad here, to be honest. And the way that Drake is mimicking his flow, like, he sounds like he's trying to be Playboi Carti on this track in some spots, and it kind of sounds a bit goofy to me. Like, it just makes him sound like a wannabe rather than someone that's, you know, developing their own style, but also taking influences from someone else. Drake isn't very good at that. He kind of just copies something and makes it sound less exciting than what the original would sound like. But at least Demons comes later on and brings that energy once again, just like with D4L. Like, these are by far the two best tracks, and even though Pay 99.3 with Playboi Carti is getting a lot of hype and attention, I wouldn't call it good. Like, I feel like this will even fizzle out in a few months once the hype's died down and Playboi Carti finally drops his actual album, which who knows when that's coming, because Playboi Carti's promotional tactics are some of the worst right now. I think Landed is alright as well. Like, the beat on that one is probably one of the better beats on the album. It actually grabs my attention. And Drake has, again, a little bit more energy than he would on a track like Losses. But, I don't know, some of his lines on this one are really bad. Like, again, Drake's lyrics aren't some of the best, really. And this is a good example of how he just kind of throws random words together. And some of the rhymes as well are so lazy. I know this isn't like a fully fleshed project, but this is what we would have gotten on Scorpion anyway. Like, even his studio albums have lyrics like this, so hearing them here doesn't make it any more excusable just because it's a mixtape. No, this is just Drake. And to I guess wrap things up, I may as well mention the big hit Tootsie Slide, which I think is honestly kind of mediocre. Like, it's kind of weird that Drake manages to pull these songs off, because this to me isn't like catchy or melodic. Like, there's nothing here that remotely resembles a pop song, you know, and yet Drake manages to just get a hit out of it. Like, this doesn't sound like catchy at all to me. Nothing really memorable, just, you know, him telling people how to do a dance move. I guess it gets viral success on things like TikTok or whatever, but I just don't enjoy it as a song. It's not terrible, but I just don't get it. The beat is extremely trap-like too. Like, this sounds like trap production just watered down so hard. look, it's another Drake project. I don't know what to say at this point. He has good moments, and then so much blah. I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 10. I don't think this is terrible, but it is pretty bad. And even with the highlights, I can't really say they carry the album in a particular way. But I guess I kind of heard what I expected, so it's not like, you know, I'm totally mad at this. It's just a bunch of Drake songs with a few highlights scattered throughout. Let me know your thoughts though. If you're a massive Drake fan, I'd love to hear what you think of this. If you don't like this at all, let me know as well. Interested to hear your thoughts. What's your favourite track as well? That'll be good. Tell me your favourite track from this here. Is it Pain 993? Is it Tootsie Slide? Let me know, let me know. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed what I had to say, even if you don't agree with me. Subscribe as well for more reviews. Have a good day and goodbye.